Hey, you know, when I woke up this morning, I didn't think I was going to be coming on today because I was only thinking about doing just one episode this week, do something on Thursday, and that'll be it. But I got too much on my mind. And hey, I got this podcast, so of course, why not? It's the whole reason why we even doing Trend Chat. So we're going to talk a little bit about immigration, which is the biggest trend that is going on right now. And also, the Republican Party of Texas Convention just passed, and I was a delegate there, and I'll give a bit of a recapping of things that happened. So all that on this episode of Trend Chat.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe, and if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat now, it's all the same name, Trend Chat 24/7. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was not even thinking about doing an episode today, but yeah, this just too much is on my mind. I just had to like I said, I do a podcast, so this is the whole reason of doing it is to vent. And I'm going to let you know right now, this might be like a long rant, and I don't know if it's going to last 45 minutes or not. I don't know. It could be 20 minutes, but I just want to get a little bit off my chest. Basically, that's what it is. And also, I guess I want to talk a little bit about the state convention as well. That's not much of a rant. Well, there were some things, but it's not to do specifically with the state convention in particular, just my frustrations in when it comes to these conventions. But I guess first off, like I said, the whole deal with immigration, because and when I mentioned that, it basically is there's a talk on immigration in particular, but I mean, obviously the focus is about what illegal immigrants are doing and illegal immigration, but it also in total of immigration as a whole, because we still don't have any sort of immigration reform as far as the laws go. So because of that, I feel like we're kind of going on this continuous cycle of having to deal with whatever story that's come out about immigration. And right now, I guess one thing I will say is that what is going on right now is nothing new. And I feel like the media is portraying this, and Democrats are just, in their press conferences while they're, having crying children or whatever, and trying to basically pull at your heartstrings. And this is nothing new. This has been going on for years. But yet I feel like, I guess Democrats in the media have seen that, President Trump's approval ratings, his numbers are going up, and Stormy Daniels is not hurting them, not bringing those numbers down. I mean, Russia, all these other issues that they keep throwing out, trying to bring them down, basically, and his numbers keep going up. So I guess they feel like, well, let's throw out immigration. let's get some kid in a cage. Let's use a picture that we use from a protest and make it seem like we got them in a cage, and then let's just run a story on that. Maybe that'll do it. But so we're talking about it. I mean, look, it worked. I'm talking about it, and look, I'm pretty sure I'm probably like the last person to hear about this. It's been talked about for the past, I don't know how many days. I heard it while I was at the convention. So, but now, you know, I guess for me, I would say I'm pretty pessimistic personally that we will ever get any real immigration reform, really. And I mean, mainly because you have these skittish Republicans. I mean, I've heard other words like weak-kneed, or I've heard, but basically just Republicans scared of their own shadow, mainly just scared of the media opinion of them, which I don't know why after all these years, it's not going to change no matter how you acquiesce to their demands, whether it's on immigration, whether it's on taxes, whether it's on healthcare, whether it's on whatever it is. If the media would show Republicans in a negative light at any point, basically, unless you just become a Democrat. And I don't know why is that so hard to comprehend amongst a lot of Republicans. No matter what you do, it would never be enough. Unless you're a Democrat. So I don't even know why you keep trying. I mean, you really. Anyway. That is not the rant I was going to go on, but that's just an ongoing rant, in particular for conservatives, basically, because you know they're not going to see you in anything positive unless you basically are doing something with a Democrat, and basically just being Democrat-like. And even then, that's not enough, because then if you know you're Democrat-like, they're like, well, we just want the Democrat, as far as that's what the media will want. So, but like I said, I don't feel like we're going to get any real reform. Mainly because it would depend on Republicans, especially, to stand on the rule of law. They would have to do that, but they don't. Every time this happens, you know, you have this heart-wrenching story, and all of a sudden they just they get all scared, and all of a sudden they relent. The Democrats media, they'll push this story, they'll push this crying kid in front of you, and next thing you know, these Republicans, they'll relent and they'll back off and like, okay, well, let's do a little amnesty, let's do a little this, let's do a little that, and then next thing you know, we keep going down a continuous cycle, and it keeps going on and on and on. So that's why I say I feel very pessimistic that we will ever get anything as far as whether it's border security or anything. I mean, maybe we may get the wall. Who knows? I don't know. But I feel like we're just going to keep continuing down this trend, back and forth. We're going to talk tough about illegal immigration. Then Democrats and media throw out some story, throw some kid out there. Next thing you know, they were like, oh, we can't separate families or something like that. That's basically what's been going on now. It's all about the stories, you know, about separating families, because that's what's been going on right now, because people who are maybe going for asylum or whatnot. And see, the thing about it, well, let me go ahead and say this too, because it's the obligatory statement every conservative needs to make, because the media has done a masterful job in making it seem like any criticism towards immigration is basically hatred for all immigrants. Like, you just hate immigrants because you have any criticism about illegal immigration. And so this is about illegal immigration. I have no problem with immigration in general, as long as it's done the right way. This is not the right way. Now, the people who are seeking asylum, if they are seeking asylum and they have legit reasons, all right, let's go through the process legally and let's do it the right way. If you're not, and you're coming in this country legally and you have your family separated, you did that to yourself. You did that to your family from the beginning. So, honestly, I have sympathy for what's going on at that moment by having your family separated. But in the whole, as far as what you did to even get to this point to have your family separated, I don't have sympathy for that. I don't have sympathy for that part, for what you did to even get to this point. Because nobody wants to see children crying, parents crying when they're separating families. Nobody want to see that. But you shouldn't have done what you did to even get to this point. And I know also the argument that's been out there now is because the argument that I've been hearing a lot, and I think it's a good one too, about, well, if you're committing a crime, just like any other criminal, or committing, any other crime, you can separate it from your family as far as, going to jail. So why is this any different than any other crime that you're committing? So, I mean, that's another way to look at it as well. Also, especially coming from Democrats who want to make this such a big story right now, I really can't take them seriously. I can't take them or the media seriously, especially from a group of people who advocate for separating babies from the family, from a mother, by meaning of abortion, what I mean. They have no problem literally taking someone's life and separating a baby from their life. Separating the baby from their mother and to not even live. It's not even where we're talking about this case when we're talking about immigration in this case, where you're separating families. Yeah, okay, you may separate the kids from the parents. Yeah, but at least the kid's still alive in this case, as opposed to when we're talking about abortion, where when you're separating them, you're basically, putting the instruments. It's something I kind of don't like to mention, but as far as just killing a child, therefore separating the child from the mother. But yeah, so it's kind of hard to really take them seriously when they're so upset about this, but yet have no problem with what's going on every day at these abortion centers across the country. So, okay, I think that was the rant. But I tell you, it's something that anyway, it's something I've mentioned before on this podcast, and obviously, this being Trend Chat, so let's go ahead and talk about that. But like I said, I don't know. Maybe this might be a short episode. Hey, some of y'all might be like, great. Maybe we don't have to hear you for 45 minutes this time. But I'm done with that. And so before we get into, I guess I'll talk about the state convention a little bit. But before that, let's hear a word from Politichicks. Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat, also contributor at Politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at Politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Commentary as subtle as a sledgehammer. This is Trend Chat.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
All right. Yeah, I know I said just one, but yeah, I just decided to play more. So it's my podcast, so I want to play something from the Founder Project as well, just in case, this might go on longer than expected. So anyway, as I mentioned in the beginning, the Republican Party of Texas had the state convention down in San Antonio, and I was there, but obviously. Well, I can't say obviously, because some delegates didn't show up. So, but I was a delegate, and so I attended. Like actually, you're supposed to. I guess that's maybe another one of those frustrations I have about the convention. But anyway, yeah, I want to get into a rant that I haven't really thought about. But yeah. So basically, it started on Monday. Put it that way. So first, it started Monday with, a lot of meetings, talking about the rules, the platform, and credentials, and on and on. And then on Thursday, that's when kind of like the main event, you want to call it, kind of starts on Thursday, where most delegates show up, because some are already there because mainly they're probably serving in committees or just want to observe as well. And actually, that's something I did last year. Not last year, but 2016. But I wasn't able to do the whole convention. So on Thursday we come in, and if any of y'all been part of state conventions, I'm pretty sure the people who are listening have been involved one way or another in their state conventions. And so you kind of understand where you meet up, you talk about, you set the rules and for the convention, and try to put together the platform that you put together for the party, for us, it's the next 2 years. And this is, the statement that Republicans should be standing, the standard, let's put it that way. That's what I'm trying to think of the word. The standard that Republicans should uphold as far as when they are, in the House or the Senate or whatever. So that being said, I just want to mention, before we get into all that, talking about the platform, I'm not even going to get into all of that, obviously, because we had like over 300 items on our platform. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all of that. There's other things I want to mention about it that are kind of funny, but before that, we also had to elect our officers as well, and being the chairman and the vice chairman of the party. Now, okay. So we had a contentious chairman's race that basically took up all of our time on Friday. And yeah, we had two candidates that was running. You had the current chair running against someone who wanted to unseat him. And it was a lot of back and forth. It was a bitter race back and, about it. Some mudslinging, as you will say. And now, this is where I get into a little bit of the frustration. And so I had a lot of frustration on other things, but here's one of them as far as this chairman's race went, because I don't want to bore you with how this goes down. See if I can explain this pretty as basic as possible. So we as delegates are already in the convention, right? And so we're all of the delegates come from different senatorial districts around the state, in the state of Texas. So all of those districts, there's 31 of them. And so all of those districts meet up separately and have what they call a senatorial district caucus, or SD caucus. In those caucuses, in those, meetings, those delegates in those meetings choose who they recommend to be the chair and vice chair of the party. So on Friday, on Friday, after those meetings, it came out that the current chair, James Dickey, who we've had on before and hopefully may have on soon, but the current chair, James Dickey, was the overwhelming favorite amongst all the senatorial districts. He won overwhelmingly more than his opponent, Cindy Ash. So from that point, kind of take it back to 2016. The same thing happened in 2016, where you had a race going on, and the current chair won at that time. And after after those meetings and seeing that the current chair had more wins and had more districts in his favor, the challenger conceded, right? When we all met up later on that afternoon. That was in 2016. That's not what happened this time. So 2016, we had our meetings. We chose basically by majority who we wanted to be the chair, had a concession. We went on about our business, and that was it. This time, that did not happen. And it basically just caused a whole afternoon of just confusion and more bitterness, actually, because now it just seems like they were just the people from the other campaign seemed like they were just using different tactics to try to find any other way to try to win, which was basically just making it worse, in my opinion. And so we just kept going down different other antics, whether it was through the rules and doing it this way, whether at one point they was using the minority report. They were a lot of different procedures, using all the procedures as they can to keep it going. And it's not like it was a close call between when we had the meetings earlier in the day. It was an overwhelming number, but yet it seemed like they just didn't want to concede. Actually, she didn't concede, to be honest, because they also had another time to speak where she didn't concede. And then after all of the procedures, we basically went down to a roll call vote, basically by taking vote by every delegate, taking all those votes. And the current chair won again. And obviously it was pretty obvious that he was going to win. And after all that, we were done for today, basically, because we kind of wasted the whole afternoon on something that was pretty much decided earlier in the day. So, and it's something I've mentioned before, after everything was over. I don't know what was the whole purpose of all this. Personally, I posted on Facebook and I think other places about this while this was going on. I felt like this was like some sort of petty retaliation towards the current chair, James Dickey, as far as for things that happened in 2016. I feel like they were just using this as a way to, I don't know, just to make them look bad, to humiliate them and try to make them, I don't know. And it's funny because we kept talking so much about unity, right? And because of this whole chairman's race and everything that was coming out, the message was all about unity. And then they, then we have this going on for a whole, wasting all this time that afternoon. And that kind of reminds me, a lot of times as far as the establishment, especially are the ones always want to preach unity, unless a conservative wins. And then all of a sudden, forget unity. They don't care about unity when a conservative wins, but when a moderate or whenever their establishment wins, then they want to tell the conservatives, "Oh, we got to be all unified. And then when the conservative is in charge, and all of a sudden, no, we can't back this radical or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, from that, like I said, lost the day basically from doing anything else, any other business. And so we had to basically wait until the next day. So, and then that's when we get into the platform and all that. And like I said, I'm not going to go through all that. And but But in talking about the platform, like I said, there was like over 300 some items, and it's kind of, I would say, kind of your basic conservative platform. It's a very conservative platform. But there were some things that kind of stood out, and one thing in particular was now, nope. Well, some of y'all that listen to this are not going to really know what I'm talking about, but it was a plank called Plank 168. I just found this a little humorous. I really did. And Plank 168 of now the approved Republican Party of Texas platform, and it's in there. It was actually voted in. And so this plank, I'm going to read it because it's not long. Plank 168 is on spending limit. And here's the description. Word for word. Adopted under the heading Budget Federal. No, yeah, that was the word. Let me read it again. This is Plank 168 on spending limit. And this is the description about on this plank is, quote, adopted under the heading Budget Federal. That's not even the sentence. And that was voted in. Now, for me to say that, it's not like, oh, well, they kind of just overlooked it. Nope. It was stated during the convention that this was a typo. And this plank makes no sense. It is illogical. And yet, with all of that plank still made it into, got voted on to be included into the Republican Party of Texas platform. Wow. Yeah, so this kind of goes right into what my frustrations are about conventions in general. And look, I'm not talking about this like I'm some grizzled veteran. This is only my second state convention, so I'm just saying, as far as someone that's been to one. And it's not a lot, but it's just one frustration I have is just the fact that as I gave that example right there, some people are not really paying attention. And I felt like not only with this convention, but other, even the national convention as well, is that I feel like people are more focused on going to the receptions and parties more so than, conducting party business. So, and I feel like, a lot of times these, in these conventions, in these meetings, it could be very, very tedious. The monotony of the procedures and going through the rules and, and all that. But that's what that we're supposed to be there for, is to conduct, the business for the party. And I feel like a lot of people get tired real quick and are frustrated and just want to, get on with it, as opposed to really getting, really settling down and trying to do what we need to do. And that's kind of one of the frustrations I have, and a lot of times, because I feel like once we get like an hour or two into these meetings, I feel like that people are starting to get restless. And then all of a sudden, that's when things really get pushed through, regardless of really, being thorough on it, on whatever it is that's in front of you. So, and that is something that I noticed not only with the, this convention, like I said, with the national convention, even worse. I feel like a national convention, it's just a party for real, which kind of, which is not really surprising given the fact that you basically do a lot of the organization of this convention. A lot of it is done the week before when it comes to national convention. And so everything you see when the cameras are on is basically just a formality, and it's just a show vote. We just there to say, hey, yay, and because it's already been voted on for the most part. I mean, it's supposed to be official at that time, but no, not really. Because if you do go step out of line and try to do something, everybody say, what start having all sour face on, looking at you like, what are you doing? You making us look bad, or blah blah, whatever. And I'll say whatever to that, because this is supposed to be party. It's supposed to be the time we supposed to be doing actual business. This is not supposed to be some sort of TV show. But look, I'm not saying anything that hasn't already been said before. That is not already known for years. This is not nothing new. This has been going on for longer than I've been alive. I'm pretty sure that this convention is basically a TV show when you see it every 4 years, especially. And it's almost the same when it comes to the state convention, at least in Texas. Not as much. There's a little more business that is done compared to the national convention, but it's kind of the same feel, just a little bit on a smaller scale. But now, so basically that's about it about the state convention. But I want to bring it back to about the whole thing about the platform. Now, it's all great. Like I mentioned, the platform is a pretty conservative platform, and that's all well and good. But just like the national convention, it means absolutely nothing if the people we send to Austin, in the case of the state convention, if the people we send to the state capitol that's supposed to uphold the principles that are in the Republican Party platform, if they're not going to actually abide by it or going to even care to do anything that we have in the platform, it means nothing, unfortunately. And I feel like there are a lot of Republicans in Texas, that they see this platform and they just totally disregard it when they get to Austin. Wasn't even planning on caring about what's in the platform in the first place. And that's the same when it comes to the national convention. We can put together this great platform at the convention. It don't mean jack if the senators and representatives don't abide by it when they go to Washington. So that's where the whole keeping your congressman accountable to not only what they say in the campaign, but also what it is in the platform. Is it really that hard to do that? I can understand if maybe you didn't run on that particular issue in the platform, but if you brought it up in the campaign and said that, hey, I'm going to Austin, or I'm going to Washington to do XYZ, like we've seen plenty of times where politicians have said that, hey, I'm going to go to the Washington, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and they don't do any of it. So just imagine how they view the platform, especially if they don't agree. I mean, whether we're talking about like the Second Amendment, and you have some people in Texas, talking about the Republican Party, Texas platform may have a strong statement on the Second Amendment, and at the same time, you have some of these representatives and senators who want gun control and just totally disregard what is in the platform about upholding the Second Amendment. And so that's just one issue. There's plenty other issues. I mean, like I said, they're like over 300 there. And, if you want to look over the platform, the Republican Party of Texas platform, if you want to look at it, just go to texasgop.org/delegates, and it's there if you want to look at it, all over 300 planks of it if you want to take a look. And I almost lost train of thought. But yeah, we're talking about the Second Amendment, but also there was a little change to the plank for abortion. It's not as strong as it was in 2016. And that came up. And I feel like the plank for abortion, which is, oh man, I forgot the plank number. But anyway, if you look up the platform and search for abortion, you should be able to find it. But I forgot about that. But yeah, but the plank on abortion has been watered down a little bit now. Basically, to kind of give those Republicans who are pro-choice, those they are out there, to give them an out to not be I guess totally against the Republican platform. So if they feel like they don't want to uphold that part, they can easily use this plank now to kind of weasel their way out of it, put it that way. And so there have been some changes. Overall, I think it is a pretty good platform. But like I said, as I said before, all this is great, and we should, it's not like I'm saying anything about that we shouldn't do this. But what I'm saying is that it comes down to keeping the people we send to Austin, keeping them accountable to this platform. And so I hope we do that. And yeah, so that's it. I'm done. I got my rant out. I got it off my chest. I feel a lot better now. I really do. I just feel like I put it out there now. And so, well, I didn't want to give a bunch of dead air while I think about it, but we will be back on Thursday because we have something set up. Hopefully we'll have it together. I don't want to say who's coming on just yet because I just want to make sure it actually happens, because things happen all the time. So hopefully we'll be back on Thursday with a special guest about a book. Let me put it that way. That's all I can give because I don't want to say too much more. So until Thursday, we'll chat with you later.